we're gonna start with launching the veeam backup and application console, which is version 11. So here you do not need to change anything. The port number for default is 9392, and we are using Windows session authentication. When it launch, it give you the version name, plus it also give you the license registered to and evaluation days left. By default, there are 30 days free trial is there. You can use your office account ID or business account ID, email ID to get a free subscription. So this is how it look like. There is no difference than the last version, but definitely there are a lot of new features has been introduced. Home and tape is there, and this is the menu bar. There are a couple of new options. If you want to click on the license, it give you that there are 100,000 instances we can use. At current, 0 has been utilized. So in case there are few options on your screen, then you can click on this particular customize button and you can check or uncheck them. They will appear or disappear by checking and unchecking. So this is how you can execute it up, and this is how it look like. This is a home. Number of jobs running can be shown here on this particular section, and the history of the jobs for last 24 hours can be appear here. So when you're on the home section, you are having options for backup job, which include virtual machine backup, Windows computer backup, Linux backup, or Mac backup, or a file share backup job. Other are there application replicating a virtual machine, and there is a CDP policy is there, okay, which we're going to discuss. And apart from that, there are import backup feature is there. In the view section, there is a compact view, off view, full view. So let it be on full side. And when we're going to go for inventory help you to understand your infrastructure. One is a virtual infrastructures. We can add our servers. If we are using Hyper-V ESXi server VMware, we're going to utilize the first option. And if you're using Microsoft Hypervisor, we're going to use the second options. So you can use any one of them for adding your infrastructure. But in my case, I'm using VMware vSphere, so I'm going to select this one. But not now. Okay, so I'm going to cancel it. Other than that, there are physical infrastructures manually added, unmanaged, and there are file share. We can add a file share. We can create a backup job. We can restore. Also, it shows you last 40 or 24 hours backups with success and warnings. The third feature is a backup infrastructure. There are a lot of things to be discussed with the backup proxies to repositories, external repositories, scale-out repository, WAN accelerator, service provider, managed servers, and so on. The next feature goes here is the storage. We can add storage, take a snapshot, restore it, or back it up. So there are particular type of storages like Cisco Hyperflex is there, Dell EMC is there. We are using NetApp. So whatever you are using, based on that, you can connect that. You're gonna need to use the IP address and then credential and so on. The next is a tape. In most of the companies has started backing up to the cloud, but on some of the companies still backing up to the tapes. So tape infrastructure is for writing our backup to the tape. So that is a tape sections. Next is a file sections, and by default your computer going to be appear here. So you can add more and more computers here, and you can have a backup accordingly. So there are a lot more things we're going to discuss in all of them. So let us begin with in the next video, starting with adding a virtual infrastructure. Thank you very much. Here is my laptop or desktop you guys are using. Okay, in this one we are using a software veeam backup and application version 11. On the same laptop I'm using VMware workstation 14. You can use any version. Inside this workstation I use two virtual machine to install ESXi host 6.7. I have renamed it to host 1. On the other side also I did the same thing, ESXi host, and I did rename that to the host 2. In this particular host I'm installing a VM, which is Windows 10. Another host I'm installing nothing. So this is the complete hierarchy of my network. Let me put something more into the detail here, like how it happened and how I'm doing it. This is the server or computers we are using. On top of it, veeam backup software has been installed. On top of it, VMware workstation, which is 14. Inside that, ESXi host 1, and inside that, host 2. Host 1, we are installing a Windows 10 OS virtual machine. In the host 2, there is nothing there. For purposefully, we did not install anything. So that is how we're gonna do this session. The RAM I'm using here is a 16 gig of RAM and SSD and i5 microprocessor for this lab. If you're having 12 GB RAM, that is also sufficient. But if you're having hard disk SSD, which is a great advantage, having microprocessor for i5 or i7 is also a very good advantage. Thank you very much. The next thing we're going to do is to prepare a virtual environment. For that, I have installed VMware Workstation. I'm using version 14. You can use any version and run it. Inside this particular workstation, I'm going to install a new virtual machine. And I'm going to install this. I do have a couple of versions like vSphere, ESXi 6.0, 6.7, and so on. So I'm choosing any of them. I'm using 6.7. You can choose any one. That doesn't matter. Okay. And here I'm writing like 6.7. The space I'm giving for it is a 90 gig. And that's okay. Memory is 4 GB processor. That's fine. Click next. Now I do have to follow the instructions to install it, and just hit the enter button. The installation is pretty easy. You just have to follow the instruction of it one by one, and it is ready to be installed. And yeah, so it has been uploading. You can see here VM kernel getting uploaded and so on. So it keep you updating what is happening in the backend. Yeah, so it's going to ask you for escape for cancel and enter to continue. Hit the enter button and hit F11. Again, you need to hit the enter button. Again, enter button. It's going to ask you password. So you can use any password you like to use and install it. So installation is in progress. It has been completed 9%. I'll do one thing. Okay, I'll pause the video once it get completed. So I'll resume it back. It is completed now. It took less than a minute. Hit the enter button to reboot. So now you can see after rebooted, it gave me IP address. That means I can utilize this IP address to access it. So how to access it is very simple. You're going to be add that IP address with the help of HTTP and okay. So when you go here, go to advanced and click on proceed. It will ask you username, which is by default root, and password that you set during the installation. And this is the interface right now. From here, you can see there is no virtual machine inside. Storage, it is a basic default storage, and networking is a basic networking section. In the virtual machine section, we can create one, but that we're going to discuss in the next video. Thank you very much. So guys, open this veeam backup and application console by just double clicking on it, execute it up. And what we need to do is we need to go to the inventory option here. Okay, and there is a virtual infrastructure. We need to go to the add server. So right now we are having VMware vSphere server. If you're having Hyper-V, you can add. Again, there are two. We are going to select vSphere, ESXi host, and what is the name or either IP address for that. So I'm gonna find out the IP address for host one, which is 192.168.126.128. 192.168.126.128. So let me verify the IP again. Okay, that's correct. And go next. Now it's going to ask you credentials. So credentials are credential for your host one, which is ESXi host, and username and password. Go okay, and click on apply. If the credentials are okay, you're going to see it over here. Okay, that means that is fine. Go okay, continue. My credentials are okay, and my host has been added to the veeam backup and application. We can see here running, and also the green tick indicates that the things are in order and getting successful. Yeah. So it gives you two options: extra finish. You can go with any. This is the information and finish. So if you go to the VMware vSphere in the virtual environment, and there is a standalone host, and host type is this, and in that particular host there is a Windows 10 we have installed. So we're gonna do one more thing. We're gonna add a server, or you can simply go to the add infrastructure and add a server again, vSphere, and this time we are using our host 2 IP address 126.131. So let us verify again 126 and 131. That's correct, and go with the next. Again, you need to go to credential, add credential for host 2, and go okay. Again, there's a certificate error. Just go with the continue. Let's wait for some seconds. It's gonna take time. On the left, you can see the host 1 is there, 128, and host 2 is there, 131 IP address. So we did successfully added these hosts to our veeam backup and application. In actual company environment, this is the same procedure you have to follow. So in 131, there is no virtual machine, but in 128, there's a Windows 10 machine. We are not going to create anyone because in future, we're going to move this machine from here to another host. So that's a different process. So we can see VMware workstation is there. Similar way, you can go to the add virtual infrastructure, go to add server, Hyper-V, and you need to add your Hyper-V IP address here. If you're using Microsoft Hyper-V. Similar way, type, credential, apply result, and summary. So physical infrastructures is there also. We're going to discuss in the next. In this video only, how to add your ESXi host to the veeam backup and application. Thank you very much. We can see backup here. The status is 99% and it is still running. It will be reached to the 100%. Yes. So as we can see, the status of backup is successful, and this is the time taken by the backup. Started at 12:47 and finished in 12:53. Speed will depends on where you are storing it, on a network or on a storage devices or locally. So there are a lot of factors that depends. But this is how you can take backups. Okay, and this is it. So in next video, we're going to discuss how to delete that VM and restore it from the backup. Thank you. So guys, log into your host one. This is your host one IP address, and you must have a different IP. Whatever IP is there, simply go to the browser, log in, and you're going to see your Windows 10. Power it off. Yes. Go to the action and delete it. Another host also, when you delete it, the virtual machine no longer available here. Another host also, there is no virtual machine. But we are just going to the host one and deleting the virtual machine. Now the task for us is to restore it back. If you go to inventory, go to host, you're gonna find here Windows 10 exists. Just press F5 button and it is no longer available here. Now restoring back is a pretty easy process. Just go to the home and you can simply go to the backup job and restore it from here also. But you can go to the backup and click on restore VMware vSphere, and it is asking you restore from backup or replica. So select the backup, entire virtual machine, and select the second option. Go to the add, select from the backup, select the backup job and add. Select the restore to the original location and Wait for it. Power on the target virtual machine after restoring. So it is going to take 2 to 3 minutes, depends on your storage. Let's wait for it to get it finished. Backup job has been started, in progress. As we can see here, it has been completed. The start time is 13:08 and 11. So it's almost to 3 minutes and it has been successfully done. Let's verify it. Let's verify it by simply going to the host one. And as we can see here, window 10 is there. And we can also go to the console and check here. And if you want to log in, yes, you can. So this is the successfully restoring a complete virtual machine. Thank you very much. Last video, we did learn about how to restore a complete VM. In this video, we're going to do something like go to the home, go to the backups, and there's a restore here. Select restore from the backup. And now there are multiple options we have right now. One is a disk restore, and the other one is an instant disk recovery, virtual disk, or VM files restore. We can go to virtual disk and select it and go to next. Okay, so it's asking you to select a virtual machine. This is my virtual machine, and this is the virtual disk. If your virtual machine having multiple virtual disk, you can select one or multiple, and here it is. Power on, and that's it. So we did restore the virtual machine, virtual disk only, which hold the operating system, because I'm not using more than one drive in the virtual machine. So by this way, you can also restore a particular disk. This is very simple. So this task has been successfully completed. Okay, and closed. Similar way, if you go to the restore and go to the options, restore from backups and disk restore. Second is guest file restore. So whatever files you have on that particular machine, if you want to restore those files, you can. You can browse those and restore. This is a file level restore here. It is getting started. It can take a few minutes, depends on your files. I have nothing inside it, so I'm just simply running it, but you can keep some files. You can make it a file level restore. So it is opening a file for the file level restore, and right now there's a C drive, but in your case, if you're using multiple drive, D, E, and F, they're gonna all appear here. In C drive, I can select that program files, that this particular file I'm going to restore. So I have to simply like a Windows mail and say restore. Do you want to, if there is a old file, do you want to keep that or you want to overwrite? So you can select it. So I'm overwriting, and it is asking you choose user account to connect to. So you have seen here like how you can restore individual things. So simply restoring, you want to keep, go with the keep, or you want to go with the overwrite. Choose user account to connect to VM with. So that VM user account is required here. You can simply go to username and password, or there's a browse option here. You can go to with browse option, selecting the username and password. So I'm not restoring anything. Let us go back. Let me cancel this one. Okay. So another thing here is by just going to the home and restore. Let us go to restore from backup. We did a VM restore, disk restore file, and application item restore. So now it depends if you're using any Windows server and there is Active Directory installed, or you're using email server, which include Exchange server, SharePoint, SQL, Oracle, and other application based on your server. Right now I'm using Windows 10, which include nothing from here, but I can simply go with the other application. General Wizard is not installed. It is asking me to download for it. So just download it, follow the instruction. This is the similar way we can restore application level also restoring, and these are the option here. In the next video, we're going to discuss about instant restoration. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friends. In this session, we're going to talk about a replication job. So we can replicate our machine from a host 1 to host 2, or also we can replicate it with the help of a backup we have already taken. So you have to do one thing, go to the backup infrastructure, and you need to go to the replication job and go to the virtual machine. So by default, it is replication job 1. You can give any name if you want it to be, and let the options to be default as of now. What you want to be replicate, you need to add. So we wanted to replicate machine available on the host 128, which I have named host A, and this is host B, or we can also say host 1 and host 2. So this is my source machine on host A, and I'm going for here also. If you go to the source option, it asks you want to replicate from the actual production environment. If you do that, it may slow down your network or performance, the people who are using the actual virtual machine. But if you go for the second option, you can replicate with the help of a backup you have already taken. So let us go with the first one first. So, okay, host is a destination. So we wanted it to be, by default, our virtual machine is on here, and we want it to be replicated to this particular host. So I'm selecting the destination host and leave everything default. If you go back here, the name of the virtual machine will be remain similar, but underscore replica will be added on the replication side. That's okay. And you're gonna run the job when you click finish. So replication job has been started, and if you go to the running section, you can see the process. The job has been started, and it is waiting for the infrastructure, resource, and availability. So this process is going to take some time, and meanwhile, I'll pause the video to save the video length. Now we can see the job has been successfully completed, and you can see the time taken, probably 8 minutes. Depends on again your network or storage. So the replication job has been completed, and we can verify that as well by just accessing. This is host 231. So let me 131. Okay. So on host 2, we do not have any machine, but can you see here the machine is replicated from host A, which is Windows 10 and underscore replica. So this is the replication machine. So in this session, we did learn successfully how to backup and how to replicate. And we can also go for a second option for making a failover plan after that. Thank you very much. In this video, we are going to learn about replication, the use of replication. Last video, we did learn how we can replicate our virtual machine present on host number 1 to the other host, which is host number 2. So it can be done vice versa as well, but the use of replication is for very important or critical virtual machines. If any reason the host or virtual machine goes down, you can have a replication copy for that, so user will not face a downtime. So as we can see, virtual machine right now is in a power on state on a host 1, which is 128 IP. Host 2, 131 IP, the virtual machine is power off. So let us go to the host A and go to the console and check the IP address of this machine. So the IP address will be, I think, 129. I'm just using my base machine to ping 192.168.126.129. Yeah. So the IP address, we can verify that by just simply going to the command prompt. One second. CMD. Yeah. So if we check the IP is 129, yeah, that's the IP address. So I'm using my base machine and try to ping. The connectivity is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to power off this particular machine. If I that is present on a host A or host 1. If I power off, I'll lose the connectivity. You can see here. So we are assuming with any reason our host goes down or the VM goes down or it crashes. So we have alternate. If we refresh, it is not going to be present here. So we have alternate. We can go to host B or host 2 and power on the replica virtual machine. When we power on, you're going to see the result here. Whatever is on the actual virtual machine, the same thing is having on the replica machine. So user will not face a downtime more than few seconds, depends on when you did power on it. Now you can see it's still getting turned on, and that's it. So it is getting pinged even if you can go to the console and you can log in it over here, and that's how it works. So this is how it works, but there is a manual way. In the next video, we are going to learn the use of failover plan here. Thank you very much. So in this video, we're going to talk about replication failover plan. So it is very simple. First of all, this is your host ESXi host A, and this is your ESXi host B. They're connected over a network. This host is hosting one VM virtual machine or multiple virtual machine, and similarly the other one may also holding. But here we are talking about the host A is holding a virtual machine which is Windows 10, and this is a critical machine. So we are creating a replica copy, replica on this particular host for the same. So that's a VM, and VM name is Windows 10 replica. Replica is nothing but a synchronized copy for this machine, and here we are using a server or a laptop, or it has been configured as a veeam backup server. So on this particular server, we are creating a plan. We already have replicate this particular virtual machine from host A to host B. So the benefit of replication is in case if this virtual machine got crashed with n number of reasons, or if this entire host got crashed, or the networking failed for this particular host, what happens is the other user inside your network or inside your organization, they will not face a downtime. They will keep connecting to the virtual machine via this particular host. So whatever the IP address per machine, names, everything will remain same here because this is the duplicate or a replica copy. So a replica copy is, after creating a replica copy, we need to create a failover plan. In failover plan, what is happening is we are setting up a limit or a delay time. If a user A, B, C, or if these any of those computer, if they are not able to reach to the Windows 10 via host A for how many seconds, we can say maybe 10 seconds or maybe 2 or 5, depends. So I'm setting 10 seconds. If this particular virtual machine is down for 10 seconds, automatically power on this virtual machine and connect all computer here. So that is called a failover plan. You do not have to do anything. You have to create a plan. Whenever the actual virtual machine goes down, automatically the other virtual machine need to be, it will get on its power. So after that, you left with the two options there. Once the original machine come back, you can say undo failover. Undo failover help you. This virtual machine will be turned off again, and this will the all computers traffic directly to this particular machine. Or if any reason you want that this machine will not come back, maybe you are replacing the host or doing maintenance or whatever. So there's another option called permanent failover. In permanent failover, this virtual machine will become the permanent failover. So that's how we're going to discuss practical session in the next video. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friends. In this video, we're going to talk about a practical demonstration for failover plan. In the last video, we already learned about the theoretical session, and let us begin here. First of all, you need to open your veeam backup and replication console. Go to the home section. You have two options. Either you can go from failover plan from here, or other option is by going to the replica. If you go to the replica, there's already a Windows 10 replica machine is available, and it is clear from here. this is the original host A location for the main machine, and this is the replication location on the host B. Host A is 128 and host B is 131. If this particular host fail or virtual machine fail, automatically it will power on after the time you are going to set. Okay, so you have a very good option, right click, and you can say planned failover. There are other couple of options we're going to discuss in the next video. If you go to the planned failover, the virtual machine will automatically appear here because you selected this option by just doing the right click on the machine. You need to follow the instruction and that's it. But I'm going to go for cancel, and here going for the replica failover plan, and I'm selecting this way. First of all, you have to name for the plan, so I'm leaving it default. You can set Windows 10 replica plan and so on. Now you need to add a virtual machine from the replica, select it and go for apply and finish. So this is going to take some seconds here and it will appear under the failover plans. This is your failover plan. Now there are other couple of options, we're going to discuss them later on, but let's start with start. Right now this is in progress and looks like it is active and success. One more thing we need to change here is go to the edit section. Next, under the 60-second delay, I'm going to set a 2-second delay. You can set any, depends on your network, like how much availability you need for this particular machine. Now we can see this is our host A and the virtual machine is running. Host B also, the virtual machine replica is also in running state. So they both are having same IP addresses. The one is actually running. So I'm going to ping the virtual machine and I'm able to say the connectivity is there. But with any reason the machine goes power off, yes, then what is going to be happen? The user will not face any downtime at all, not even for a single second. They can remain keep connected on the replica side. So this is the practical use of it. Now let's go for another options over here. The one say is undo failover. Undo failover is required when you know the original machine will come back on again or online. You can do the undo failover, or permanent failover is when this is not coming back at all or you're replacing hardware or any other reason. So you can make this as a permanent location by just doing a permanent failover. So you can try both of them. I'm going to try for maybe a permanent failover. It will work. If you do undo failover, that will also work. So here, if this machine goes on again, I can simply go, let's wait for a few seconds, let the machine to be turned on. And you can see the network connectivity is there. User are not facing any downtime, not even for a single second. Okay, so now if this machine is getting online, the actual machine on host A, yeah, it's back again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use an option called undo failover and say yes. So we keep checking the connectivity as well. Now it is powering off the old virtual machine, particularly this one. As you can see, the replica machine is powered off and there is no downtime for the user. Let me go again one more time and check here. So this is how it is going to work. Thank you very much. The next important topic we are going to discuss in this video series is backup proxies. In the home section, we have discussed a couple of features. Next is the inventory that we have started with adding our virtual infrastructures. The third comes to starting with backup proxies, backup repository, external repository, scale out. So we're going to discuss all of them. We are starting with backup proxy. So by default, you can see there are two types of proxy. One is backup proxy, which is agent, and another one is a VMware backup proxy. So these two are there. Let us understand what is backup proxy and the use of backup proxy here. So you can see the help center veeam backup. Here you're going to find a lot more information, but I'm giving you a small introduction. A backup proxy is an architect component, sits between the backup server and component of the backup infrastructure. While backup server administers the task, the proxy processes the jobs and deliver backup traffic. So you can read it slowly, but let me help you with this small diagram here. As we can see here, first of all, this is the backup proxy, the use of backup proxy here. The step number one going to the source host. The step number source host is going to the production storage. It could be a vSAN or it could be a SCSI, or there are multiple type of NetApp, EMC storage. Okay, so there are multiple type of storage. Backup server, you can see the third point coming to the source host, and the fourth point here going back to the host. Fifth point, the host is going back to the proxy, and sixth point here also the production storage is going to the proxy. Seventh point is the backup repository. So backup repository is where your backup sits. But let's not make it complicated. Let me try to make it easy and simpler by just helping out. So let's go to the backup proxy. There are VMware backup proxy because I'm using virtual infrastructure VMware. This is right click and property. So it helps you to understand the transport modes. If you look here, automatic, direct is when the storage is directly connected to your system, virtual appliance and network over the network or using a virtual appliance. So it can be left based on your transport mode, and I'm keeping it automatic. And if you go to the connected data store, and one is again also automatic detection or manual selection. So if your data store is directly connected over here, so you can simply just go to the add, and like the one data store is on host A 128 and another one is here. So you can select both of them by just holding the control button and okay. So there we can see, and you can select, and let's wait for it. Okay, so they might have been validating the server and it is taking longer than expected. I'll pause the video to save the video length. So it's just a few seconds only, and manage network traffic rules. You can set up some so and so, depends on your networks. And I said okay. Use multiple upload stream per job, so that many, 5 is default. And here we go with apply. Now we can see it took almost 3 minutes, and we're gonna go for next, and it has been successfully modified. if you look for the normal backup proxy here, and by just going to the property section, that asks you max con parent task, and if you go to the next, again there are similar way the traffic rules are there, and it does ask you for the direct attached storage, or either it is a network storage, or so we're going to give you some couple of options, right? So internet, and go manage network traffic rules, which we have already discussed, and transport and veeam backup, those are already exist, and you have to just go for apply and finish. So this is the normal system backup proxy, but whenever backing up to the VMware, the mode, the transport mode, and the other feature it has shown to you, we're gonna look for those features one more time again. Let's wait for it to be finished. So this has been completed here, and we're gonna go back to the VMware backup proxy, and here we can see the transport mode, the connected data store. So connected data store, we manually connected, or still the option is automatically detection. So that is always there. Second is transport mode. We have discussed automatic selection, direct storage access, virtual appliance. Data is received directly from storage through hypervisor like VMware and other stuff. VMware or Hyper-V, Microsoft product. So that's a virtual appliance. Direct is directly connected, and network is, it is connected over a network with a speed of whatever it is. So automatically will automatically detect for those, but if you know, if you have been using a direct storage access, that's the best features to go for, and you have to just follow the instruction, and that's how it works. So we have already done that. This is all about backup proxies and the 3 modes we have discussed. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, my dear friend. In this new session of backup repository, we are going to understand what is backup repository, type of backup repository, and how we are going to configure in our veeam backup and application console. A backup repository is a storage location where our backup keeps backup files and also VM copies or metadata or replication VM. So whatever we are backing up with the help of veeam backup and application, it is the backup repository where it gets stored. So to configure a backup repository, we can use following steps. The one is a direct attached storage. Direct attached storage is a directly connected storage to that particular device. Okay. And it could be a Microsoft server or a Linux server. One is a network attached storage. Network attached is a NAS storage like EMC Square or NetApp or many other, where we are keeping our backups on the network. So it will back up with the help of networking. Another one is a deduplicating storage appliances, like there are some of them what I have explained just now. Dell EMC, EXA Grid, HPE. And the last one comes here is a object storage. Object storage, we can use cloud storage service as a backup repository. So we are going to use Microsoft Azure also. So if you go to the backup repository here, in the backup infrastructure, first is a backup proxy and then backup repository. By default, there are 2, and you can create anyone by just going to right click add backup repository, or by just going to on the ribbon here. Now it asks you what kind of your storage is. It is a network attached, deduplicating, and object storage. So direct is directly connected, Microsoft Windows or server with internal or direct attached storage. And this is the next one. NAS server, if you're having. Deduplicating is having those appliances, and object storage is having a cloud. If I say object storage, it will direct you for all those cloud options here. If I go back and if I say deduplicating storage, it gives you those options from Dell to Quantum. And if I go to the network, we need to mention network file share, or if it is a Linux SMB share. But we are going the first one here, direct attached storage, and we need to select if you are using Microsoft or Linux platform. So it's a Microsoft Windows, and a name for it, server, where your repository is. You can add new IP address or server, but this is the default server I'm using. And populate will help you to find out how many drives are connected here on this particular server, how many storage is available, and what is the free or available space in all those storage. So we can see here's a C drive with minimum space, and there's a D and E drive. So E drive is having plenty of free space. I can select E, and again, if you go, there are a lot of options which we're going to discuss maybe later, and apply. I'm getting here access is denied. The reason for getting access denied here is this is my E drive and it is external drive and it is write protected. So I cannot. So I need to either select C or D. So I'm just going back and I'm selecting maybe D. Okay. So you guys can do the same thing. So it took almost 3 to 4 seconds and we are good and done. So now I'm having backup repository 1, default backup repository, and so on. Okay. And whenever I'm going to have a backup next time, like backup job and backing up a virtual machine, and backup job 3 by default, and I want to back up a virtual machine which is available somewhere here. And when I go next to the storage, automatically the storage is going to ask us the backup repository, and by default it's a default backup repository. So we need to select where we want to store. So I want it to store in that particular location. I am selecting Nuke repository. If I wanted a different one, I can select it. And if it is a network backup repository or object backup or deduplicate repository, they're all going to be appear here, and you need to select where you are going to store your data. So that is the role of a normal backup repository. Thank you very much. The next topic is external repository. External repository, as it is clear from the name, it is externally using the cloud. So it is a read-only repository. You can use veeam backup and application to copy, import, and restore backup created by veeam backup for Amazon or Microsoft Azure or Google platform from external to on-premise repository. This way you can perform data migration between cloud, on-premise, and virtual infrastructure. Amazon S3 is there, in Azure BLOB is there, Blob, and Google Cloud is there. So we're gonna go with one of them, maybe the Azure Blob in the upcoming video. So if we go here to the external repository here, the first thing is connecting to a repository. It is asking you connect your AWS S3 Amazon account, Microsoft Azure or Google. So you need to you need to connect. Here you need to add the credentials for the account and account key. So name of the storage account, and here the storage account secret key. So we're going to discuss those in detail, that how, first of all, how we can create a storage account. So this is, you can access portal.azure.com, log in your user account, and you need to go to the storage account. You can also go from here. I already have a storage account, so I'm going to delete this one and say yes. So you need to create a storage account. Dashboard will be open, and resource group, you need to have a resource group. So this is a part of Microsoft Azure. I'm not going to discuss how you can create. Cloud name is Muke Azure Storage, right? And I'm using a tier which is premium. Use premium because in standard it may not support your backup stuff. So review and create. So storage is done now. Go to the resource and access keys, and this is the name of storage account. So I'm going for Microsoft and add name of the account and storage key, and I need to copy the key by going to show key and copy, and going to paste it here. So there are a lot of other formality need to be done, having a container and so on. But my purpose in this particular video is just to show you, you can connect your external account, which is Amazon or Microsoft Azure or Google. So right now I have nothing here in terms of container. So I will be preparing a separate video for you to set up external repository, how to back up over the cloud. So if I go, I may need a container. So that's it in this video. We can learn in another new video. Thank you very much. Welcome to the third section for backup repository, which is a scale-out backup repository. Is it clear from the name? Like a scale-out backup repository is a repository system with horizontal scaling support for multi-tier storage of data. The scale-out backup repository consists of one or more backup repositories called performance tier. Can be expanded with object storage repository for long-term and archive storage, the best tier. So if we go for the scale-out repository and we go, and by default we start, it give name like scale-out backup repository 1, and add your performance tier like new repository. Okay, and go next. Go next. Now click on extend scale out backup repository with capacity tier. Add. Now here we have an option. I wanted to add like Microsoft Azure BLOB storage, and okay, credentials are Muke Azure storage, Azure storage, and password key is, and there we go. So in such case, if my normal storage become full and I am scaling it out to the cloud, so also it will keep expanding and going over to the cloud. But again, here this section is remain empty because I need to configure that on the cloud side. So I'm just going to cancel it. Also, you have option here, you can limit a space on the cloud based on your billing. So you can set like maybe 500 terabyte, it depends, and we can go to the apply section. So this is how you can scale out. And that's it. So this is ready, a scale out backup repository. And if you want to delete it, maybe you can find a way. Yeah, that's the one to remove. So afternoon and good evening, my dear friends. We are going to start a new video series for veeam Backup and Application version 10. veeam Backup and Application delivers ability for all the cloud, virtual and physical workload designed to meet the backup demand for organization of all sizes to reduce complexity and outperform legacy backup. Specialized for many different types of recovery, the next generation instant recovery engine allow extreme flexibility, all from a single pass image level backup. By using the most instant VM recovery technology in the market, you can now initiate instant recovery for multiple virtual machines at once, making this perfect solution for migration or to bring multi-server application back online fast. Always providing support for the latest version of VMware, veeam Backup and Application is ready when you are to embrace new virtualization platform update. So let us start with industry-leading backup recovery and replication software. And veeam Backup and Application delivers ability for all your cloud, virtual and physical workload through a simple by design management console. You can easily achieve fast, flexible, and reliable backup recovery and application for all your application and the data. Now, there are a lot of things we can do with the veeam Backup and Application. I have mentioned few: reliable backup, fast recovery, secure application, cloud portability, smart storage, and data reuse. So reliably backup any workload, achieve shorter backup time, and reduce operational cost with unparalleled flexibility. There are many vendors or technologies who has been offering a backup technologies. What makes Veeam backup different than other is Veeam backup offer you a lots of features with including backing up your physical servers, backing up your virtualized infrastructures or a cloud, and it takes a very less time to restore it back. So in any case, if your infrastructure is going through some tough time, you find something need to be restored back, it's just a click of a mouse and your entire virtual machine will be back. So lightning fast restore for the files, virtual machine, NAS, and application, ensuring low recovery time and objective. Then secure application, it use image-based application and streamline disaster recovery for increased speed, security, and availability. Cloud portability, migrate to recover any workload to AWS, Amazon, or Microsoft Azure with capability that keep your backup safe from the attack. There's a smart storage, create fast backup and replicate from snapshot using hardware from nearly any of the world leading storage providers. So that's again a good feature. Data reuse your backup data to ensure security, compliance, recoverability, update with confidence, and make smarter decisions. So the first one is reliable backup. Your business relies on the availability of its data. For example, if you are running an e-commerce websites like Amazon. I'm giving example, okay, Amazon.com. And there are people who always browse this website and they're looking to shop something. But when you browse, you find the web server is not working or certain items cannot be displayed or some other technical issues. Next time, you will look for alternate to the Amazon.com. Similar way, it's a bank website and you are looking to make some sort of a transfer or money withdrawal, or could be anything, transferring amount or checking the balance. If you find it is done most of the time, will you still operate your account or keep your account in the same bank? Of course not, because your business relies on the ability of its data, so people will stop trusting you. So what are the real challenge for any organization is to keep their data online, safe, and always online, available. So if any server failure, they have an alternate backups for that. They can restore them in the one click. So that's the Veeam. Business today face a multitude of challenges when it comes to IT and data management. Public cloud are a rapidly expanding component of most business data center strategy, and IT professionals struggle with how to efficient, protect, migrate, and manage data between their on-premise and cloud data centers. So that's a real challenge. People have been using Microsoft Azure or AWS and so on, and if you have to perform migration from one to another, it's probably a tough task if there's no Veeam. It's time to be flexible as everything needs to be protected. Cloud, virtual, physical, it's all part of your data center now, because if you are working in an organization, they must be using a cloud, they must be using virtual, that's again cloud, or a virtual setups their own, and they are also using some sort of a physical. So they all are combination a part of a network. So rely on simplicity that only Veeam can deliver with comprehensive backup for everything that runs your business. So Veeam backup allow for cloud, for virtual, and for physical cloud. Backup in, to, or from the cloud, that gives you a feature. Second is a virtual, that is a VMware, vSphere, Microsoft Hyper-V, Nutanix, AHV. It allow you to backup them and restore them. Physical is again a physical server with operating system Microsoft Windows, Linux, and Unix. Okay, so next is a fast recovery. Be a recovery hero. Save your data from the clutches of disaster. Stop downtime with lightning speed. Note down this, lightning speed as fast. Guaranteed restore at your fingertips for any recovery scenario. No matter what happened to your networks, if you have taken the backup, you can instant recover it within minutes. Veeam backup and application provide data recovery options for business of all sizes and has the ability to backup and restore multiple type of data, no matter the type of application or environment. So cloud, again, restore in and in, to, or from the cloud. You can restore anything from the cloud, or you can restore anything to the cloud. Virtual, VMware, vSphere, Hyper-V, and Nutanix. Physical is Microsoft Windows, Linux, and Unix. And application, it also protect your application. That's the Active Directory. We will do this in a practical. SQL also, Exchange Server, SharePoint, Oracle, SAP, HANA. So it only not keep protections to your cloud, virtual, physical, but also the application. The next is availability via built-in replication. So that's the one. Ensuring that your organization mission critical data remain available is essential to deliver on service level agreements. With advanced application capability from Veeam, you can avoid data loss and dramatically improve your recovery time and point object, RTO, recovery time object, and recovery point object to 15 minutes for all application and data, minimizing impact on your infrastructures. If anything goes wrong, definitely there is an impact on the infrastructure. It depends how big your organization is and how much it costs you, but you can minimize it by using Veeam. Next is scale infinitely, stay protected in the cloud. That is cloud portability. So extend Veeam protection to any public cloud. Whether you are just starting out far along your journey to the cloud, it can be a powerful extensions for your data center and application strategy. With Veeam backup, you can harness the power and agility of the cloud while minimizing data loss, portability, and storage cost. You can minimize everything. Remember, building contingency plan in case something fails applies to the cloud. Just like on-premise environments, customer need to protect workload in the cloud, store backup in the cloud for redundancy and flexibility, leverage the cloud for disaster recovery, and Veeam support a variety of capability across the list of cloud services. You can use Amazon AWS, you can use Microsoft Azure, or IBM Cloud. Next is a fast VMware vSphere backup with low RPO and a smart storage and then data reuse. Now, achieve high availability through a combination of Veeam backup and replication and the world's leading storage provider. With Veeam backup, you can create true backup and replication from snapshot often you would like, even during business hour with little or no impact on your production environment. So if this is your server and there are particular virtual machines, you just take snapshot of every hours or every 6 hours. It won't impact the productions. There might be a little traffic for taking it to the storage. Little CPU utilization is there, but at least it can keep your data safe and secure. The next is data reuse. Unleash your backup data and do more than ever. A gold mine of valuable data is wrapped in your backup and replicas. These copy of your production data typically sit idle. collecting dust and waiting to be used in recovery scenario. Did you know that you can use this copy data for use cases that are well beyond traditional backup and recovery? With Veeam Data Labs, part of Veeam Backup and Application, you can. So adding to the long-standing ability to verify and recoverability of backup and application, Veeam Data Labs unlock multiple cases for copy data that goes beyond data protection and drives cost and operational efficiency while improving business agility. This includes ability to achieve faster applications deployment, mitigation risk by testing new upgrades and patches before rolling them out, DevOps, dev test, and even security and compliance verifications. So this is the lab setup required for Veeam backup, a minimum lab setup requirement. You need to have a one physical server, and you have to install on top of it. You have to install Veeam backup and replication. That's the one. Also, you need to have a one more host, one physical server. You need to install VMware ESXi server, and you need third again. You need one more physical server, and you need to install VMware ESXi host. This is first host and second host. On the first host, you need to install virtual machine. It could be Windows 10 or operating system is maybe Server 2012. Apart from that, you need to have a storage. You can store into this particular system as well as locally, or you can store into the different system or a network storage. Apart from that, you need a networking switch which make connectivity possible between all of them. So that's the lab setup, lab requirements. Let me show you how I am dealing with that, what I have in the name of lab. So I'll be having a one laptop. Okay, and the configuration for this laptop is i7 CPU, and I'm using 12 GB RAM, and I'm using SSD hard disk drive. So how I'm dealing on top of my laptop, I'm using Windows 10. This is a on Windows 10. I'm using this operating system. I'm using VMware Workstation, and this is VMware Workstation it is actually a Type 2 hypervisor. On this VMware Workstation, I have installed ESXi host 1 and ESXi host 2. In ESXi host 1, I have installed virtual machine, that is Windows 10, and on this Windows 10, which is directly installed on my laptop, I have installed Veeam backup. So that's it. I have a laptop with this configuration. On top of laptop, I have installed Windows 10 plus Veeam backup and application. On top of that, I'm using VMware Workstation, and inside the VM Workstation, I'm using ESXi host 1, ESXi host 2, and also on this Windows 10, I'm using vSphere client. vSphere client. This vSphere client is used to connect to this host 1 and host 2 and install operating system. So let me show you here. This is my VMware Workstation that is here, VMware Workstation Pro. In this, I have installed ESXi host 1 and ESXi host 2. In this ESXi host 1, I have connected it with vSphere client. This is the host 1, IP is 132. You can see IP is 132 for host 1, and host 2 is 134. So I have connected only this one right now. And if you see there's a Windows 10 installed, and even I can go to the console and verify that Windows 10 has been installed. So this the Windows 10 has been installed. So that is whole a lot my configurations for it. Also, I have installed Veeam backup and application. So this is the console. Just click on it, and here it is: home, view, home, inventory, backups, and so on. So we will discuss all of those features. And remember, this is version 10, the latest version of Veeam backup and application. Thank you. So let's execute Veeam backup application console and say yes. Now you can simply click on connect. It's a local desktop. Port is 9392. It's your computer name and password, and you have to use Windows session authentication. If you have not used any authentication, then so in case sometime it won't connect, then you have to type the IP address of your physical computer, this computer, if it don't work with the local host. Although it will work, if not, then you have to type the IP of this machine. Say connect, and let's wait for the connection to be done. Okay, here it is. It's a trial version, and there are 29 days remaining. Okay, so now you find here home and view. There are two options, and one, if you click here, you're going to find some options from exit to license to color themes and many more, the configuration, backup, and so on. And at the bottom you find home, inventory, backup, tape, file, history. In case some of these options are missing, you can click here, and they must be unchecked, so they are missing. If you check, they will come back. Here it is. So when you click on a home, you're going to find there are jobs, backup jobs. Right now, no backup jobs has been given. Not now, not even last 24 hours. It's a fresh installation. In the inventory, it's a virtual infrastructure. Either it is your VMware or Hyper-V. You can add from here, including adding a server or creating or restoring a job. Physical infrastructures will bring your physical server available in the network, managed and unmanaged. File share is for sharing a file, file copy backups and so on. And it will also allow you to backup job and restore for the file share. After the physical, you will find last 24-hour backup. These are success. This is a warning signs, and these are failures. So anytime you get error, you can look into those failed and warning. So you can find a more detail about the particular error. If you go to the home, Go to the inventory, then backup infrastructure. That's the most important. Backup infrastructures comes with more features starting from backup proxies, repositories, external repositories, scale out repository, WAN acceleration, service provider, and next is a sure backup with application group, virtual machines, and then managed server is Hyper-V and Microsoft Windows. So we're going to work with almost all of them. Then there is a tape infrastructures backing up your files and restoring them and restoring from the tape. So that's the one, tape server. Then next is a file, and you simply find your physical and virtual infrastructures and their files. You can look into the drives and you can back up them from files as well. So I can look exactly go inside them. So this is a small overview, okay, and it will let you go with view, compact view, or full view. So let's start in the next video with adding up those server. Thank you very much. So guys, before starting creating a virtual machine, the first step you have to do is go to the data store and browse the data store and click on upload. On the upload section, I'm gonna upload the ISO file here, which is in software tools, and here it is Windows 10. So it's a Windows 10, and I have to upload that, and you can see the progress of uploading on your right hand side here. So it's going to take time. It is right now 5%. Let's pause the video till it reaches the 100%. So as you guys can see, it has been reached to 100%. The first step was completed in the data store. If you go to the data store browse, you can see you have successfully uploaded it. Now let's go to the virtual machine and create a virtual machine. Click on and follow the instructions. I'm going to give a name here, Win10, and select the operating system families and the version, correct version. So okay, now there are things here you need to go to the CD and DVD and click for data store ISO. Select your file you have recently uploaded, and if you click here, you can actually see here from where it is getting browsed. One important step: if you're using version 6.7, simply go to the VM option, go to the boot option, and by default it is EFI. You have to select BIOS recommended. Next, and then click on finish. So as you can see, Windows 10 has appeared here. You need to select and power it on. Also, open the console in a new tab. So on the tab here, you can see the installation has been started. We just need to follow the instruction for Windows 10 installation. Okay, and then yeah, so it's a let it be default, or you can change your language based on your country or region. Okay, so simply select and go for custom and go for next. The installation is in progress. I'm pausing it to save the video length. So guys, after 1 or 2 restart, this OS is about to finish the installation. So it depends on your hardware how long it's going to take. For me, it took around 10 to 15 minutes, and you can select your keyboard layout and so on. The course more about is about veeam backup and application, but I'm helping you to prepare an virtual environment so you can understand how we can backup, how we can replicate, or how we can create a failover plan. And there are a lot of new features has been introduced in this new version 11. So we're going to discuss all of them. So let it finish. Meanwhile, you can see on the virtual machine section, we're having one virtual machine, and which is almost ready to install. So I'm going to name here and yeah, password. You can set any password, but remember that. And repeat your password. Here it goes. So the Windows installation has been done successfully. What we have done so far, in VMware, we have installed a host, which is VMware ESXi 6.7. Inside this host, we have installed an operating system, which is Windows 10. So I can also rename that so we can remember it easily. So I'm just renaming it to the host 1. Now, in the next video, we're going to create a new host, but in that host, we are not going to install any operating system, any virtual machine. Okay. Why? That we're going to discuss during migration. Let me skip. And okay. So let's accept. You can skip that part of video if you know installation is a pretty easy process. So it is just for beginners who might not have a knowledge for virtualized environment. So I did prepare this 1 or 2 video for those. So Windows has been installed here successfully. Wait for it to come. So here we can see our Windows 10 has been installed successfully inside the host. Okay, just again. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So this is the Windows 10 which has been installed successfully. We're going to discuss what we're going to do in the next video. Thank you very much. So team, in the last video we did learn, we just created a host, and inside the host we installed the operating system. Now we're gonna have a new host, but we are not going to install any OS. So creating the host is very simple here again. Let's go to the home and go to the file and say new virtual machine. Go next and go to the browse. In the OS it is 6.7 I'm installing. You can install any version. And virtual machine is I'm just giving a name to host 2 and giving a space of 80 GB. And okay, so host 2 is there, and it's gonna install the ESXi installer, which is pretty simple. We have learned in the last video. Just follow the instructions for it, and that's what we have done in the last videos. And now we can see another one host has been installed here, and it can be accessible also with the help of the IP addresses, which is 192.168.126.1. 3, 1. This is a host of 2. So whenever first time you are accessing this, you need to go to the advanced and click on the options here, and username is root, password, the password you did set during the installation time, and here it is. So yeah, we can clearly see here there's no virtual machine here in this particular host, but if we look to the host number 1 here, there's one virtual machine. So we have done so far installing a VMware workstation. Inside the VM workstation, we are installing host 1, host 2. Inside the host, there is another virtual machine which is Windows 10, and host 2 is empty. Next video, we're going to learn how we can add these virtual environment to the Veeam backup and application. Thank you very much. So let us start with adding the infrastructure. Simply go to the inventory and go to the virtual interface, or sorry, virtual infrastructure. There you need to be add server. So select the kind of server it is, and it's a VMware or a Hyper-V or Active Directory domain serviceable for physical servers. So right now I will be using the one features, but in middle of this course I will be installing Hyper-V as well, and the last one Active Directory. So let's start with VMware vSphere. It's asking you to use which features like vCloud Director or vSphere. So vSphere. Now we need the IP address. So how you find IP address? Remember, you have installed ESXi host 1, that is 192.168.60.132. You might have different IP address. Use this IP address. Okay, so that's your IP address. Go next. Credentials. The username is always root, and the password, whatever the password you have typed during installation. It give you a security certificate alert. Just click with the continue. It is saying incorrect username and password, so I'll type again. Make sure use root in a small alphabets. Go continue. Let's wait for a while. Yes, it works. It takes few seconds before it completes. Okay, so it's done. You will get a message successfully created. Finish. It is also giving the host information to 6.0.0 build. Okay, so if you go to the VMware vSphere and in the standalone server, you are going to find your host, and inside the host there is a machine Windows 10. Okay, and it's running. So one more host I have, and this host is 2, and the IP is 192.168.60.134. So again, and add server 192.168.60.134. Go with the next. Add the credentials. Username is root and password, whatever password you have typed during the installation of those servers. Go continue. And it is coming as a standalone because I'm not using a product called vCenter because of the RAM available in my machine. But if you can, you better install vCenter, and instead of a host IP, you have to type the vCenter IP address. That's it, nothing much. Let's wait for some time before the server is saving configuration. None. Now this is the IP address and this is the build version. That's it. Finish. Now if I see 132 does have a machine Windows 10 and 134 does not have any virtual machine. So I told you earlier, this one contains Windows 10 inside and this contains nothing. I'm also using this vSphere host. Okay, and how to use that? It's pretty simple. Just install vSphere client, add the IP address for the host and password, and okay, go with the ignore, and that easily you can connect. This is your Windows 10. You can go to the console and you can operate it from here. You can also use remote desktop by using ipconfig command. This is 192.133. So I have already enabled the remote desktop, and you can simply even take the remote desktop of this machine. Just type a username and then password, and you can connect to the virtual machine from anywhere in the network. Okay. Yeah. So I have taken a remote desktop. So adding a server is done. The way we have installed VMware vSphere, we can simply go to the add server and click on Hyper-V server. Simply type the name or IP address of the server and then go next, and that's it. Similar way, you can go add server, select, this Hyper-V is there or vSphere is there, so on. Removing is also simple. Right click and you have option called remove, and right click, remove the server. Thank you very much. The next things we are going to discuss is proxy. Okay,